Hi, I'm Erin Jourdan from memoirclass.com, and this is a quick video on dreams and the subconscious and writing from dreams and the subconscious. First of all, my question would be, how many of you remember your dreams? I know that I do. Mine are very strange and architectural and adventurous. I often have different neighborhoods from different cities I've lived in kind of smushed in together. It's good to sort of find out what your iconic dreams are. The ones where you go to the same place, or you're wearing the same thing, or you're doing the same action over and over again. Those are your personal iconic stories, let's say. And an easy way to figure out what those are for you is to actually keep a dream journal. And this is one that I keep. And I do little sketches in it, and I do short little, here's an example, very short descriptions of what happens. And part of the reason I do this is because even though you spend 1/3 of your life sleeping, and that's 2,100 days, or 6 years of your life dreaming, on average, though, you can dream from 1 to 2 hours every night and have 4 to 7 dreams. 5 minutes, they say, 5 minutes after the end of a dream, half the content is forgotten. And within 10 minutes, 90% of it is lost. So that is why I very much recommend that you have a pad of paper, a pen, or a pencil, whatever works best for you, and also a flashlight or something like that to be able to get this stuff down as soon as possible. The biggest thing about dreams is that dreams are very fragile material to work with. They disappear really quickly. Okay, so going into some of the history of dreams, I wanted to tell you a quote from the Talmud, which is that a dream that is not interpreted is like a letter which is not read. And I do think that for how much time we spend asleep, it's a very valid way to spend our creative energy to look at and contemplate what are some of the general themes and things that happen in our dreams. So in ancient history, dreams were considered a gift from the gods. And dreams were part of this bridge world, the mundus imaginalis. And this spanned the world of matter and the world of spirit. Sumerians, Babylonians, and Assyrians practiced dream incubation, and they studied those dreams for omens. For Egyptians, dreams offered a portal to a realm not accessible in waking life. And dreams were considered as having a revelation of truth that must be acted on. And angels would appear as messengers, bright lights and fire. In another case, in ancient Greece, there was a movement called Orphism, which is the dreamer traveling out of their body at night to receive important information. So Plato records the dreams of his teacher, Socrates, during this time period, and Augustus Caesar proclaimed that anyone who dreamt about the Commonwealth was required to proclaim it in the marketplace. So that was kind of a public display of dreams, that even if you dreamt it privately, if it was about the Commonwealth as a citizen, you needed to go to the marketplace and tell people what you'd experienced. I'm sure I would probably think twice about doing that. And then rolling forward into Sigmund Freud, the interpretation of dreams by Freud was published in 1899. And the reason why this is important is because he was really one of the first philosophers and thinkers to systematically look at human consciousness and unconsciousness. Medical theory, or science, on the other hand, has said that dreams scarcely reach the level of being physical phenomenon at all. The sole instigators of dreams are the sensory and somatic stimuli, which either impinge upon a sleeper from outside or become accidentally active in their internal organs. So basically, science kind of still perceives dreams as being a series of blips. But in psychoanalytic theory, going back to Freud, and the philosophers that have come and psychologists that have come after Freud, is that dreams are unfulfilled wishes mixed with narratives about the self. They're both the repressed and free-flowing They're symbols and ideas that are distorted and displaced in order to shield, yet communicate our thoughts. So we are having some very deep, I would say a deep conversation with ourselves, and yet a not very direct conversation with ourselves in our dreams. And that is why there are so many symbols and places and things that mean something else, and how you can also be yourself and yet someone else in your dreams. You can meet someone who is Bob but is also Mary, and how fluid dreams tend to be. In our dreams, our complex emotions come out. We can like something but also hate it. We have an attraction and a repulsion to things. So in terms of our society, or actually in terms of oral societies, that was where these societies pre-written word would store their familial and cultural knowledge. And all cultures have a myth concerning the creation of the earth and the creation of their group. So I think that we have a need to explain the unexplainable and quantify our world. And I think in some ways we do that on a personal level also. We have a need to explain to our ego all of our unconscious desires that don't fit within the acculturation that we've experienced. Things that are gross or off-putting or out there or strange or surreal. Those are all of the things that come through in our dreams that we get a chance to communicate to ourselves and start to make sense of. I think we also have a need to have our voice heard and to have a point of view about what we see in our dreams. So I think spending some time with them, there is a writer, and I cannot remember their name, maybe you can help me in the comments or let me know, and something to the effect of take your dreams seriously and your waking life not seriously. Treat your life as though it is a dream, and treat your dreams as if they really have something important to tell you about who you are. I think it's intriguing that as narrative animals, and I would say that, you know, Homo sapien, narrative Homo sapiens, our bodies create stories while we're asleep, and those are our dreams. And I think that it's fascinating that while we sleep, we put together and we weave these incredibly complex stories. Once again, it reminds me of the fact that we are storytelling animals for sure. And yet, dreams can also be seen as a culmination of our hopes and a distillation of our fears. So for instance, if I was to say my dream is to sail around the world, it's an almost impossible, far-reaching task. I think dreams sometimes focus our imagination, and they also focus us on our on different selves, different kinds of selves, a higher self, a lower self. So I think it's intriguing to play around with that a little bit. So in terms of working with your dreams, there's a couple of different things I would recommend. One is, first of all, writing down your dreams and looking for common themes. Are there places that you go to? Are there colors that you see? Are there, for instance, characters that you meet over and over again? Are there things that are repeated? Obviously, those are kind of like the snags in your own personal narrative that obviously are trying to tell you something. And I think the more you look into that, there's a lot of truth there. And I could go into what my personal ones are, but I don't think they would be that interesting. I think for you, it's a very personal journey of writing down your own dreams and starting to analyze them a little bit. And I think when you're analyzing your dreams, often there's a lot of websites and books about this. Whatever your thought is the right thought. And I like the fact that you can focus on all interpretation as being your own. If it feels right and it feels like that's the reason why you're dreaming it, then that's a good enough reason for why you're doing it. There's no reason to look too deeply into anything or even see what symbols mean to other people, because it doesn't matter. A spider could be something that's a really pleasurable, interesting thing for you and not something that's dark and about webs and deceit, which is what culture often tells us to associate with it. I also think that looking for those archetypes and symbols in your dreams over and over again, I think drawing them can be very important, but also it's a chance to take whatever story that you're experiencing and perhaps add some of that dream aspect to it, which is that anything can happen. You can be two people at once. You can suddenly stop a story, start someplace else. You can be anywhere in the world and be anything you want to be when you're writing, if that's what feels most emotionally true. And I think that's the aspect of dreams that I would want to get across for anyone who's writing, is that it's a chance to break from logic and be as emotionally true as possible in your writing. So I want to thank everybody for watching. And once again, I'm Erin Jourdan from memoirclass.com. Thank you.